Hey guys, Stephen here, and we're back to another Roblox tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're gonna actually make some leaderboard. So you notice that we have coins and checkpoint, but we don't really. Why is this not working? Let's just change this to probably 10. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna record who has the most checkpoint, and we want it to be on the leaderboard. Now we don't want it to put it here, but initially you will have to start with leaderboards, and instead of like getting the largest checkpoint, we're gonna make it points. So whenever you get to, let's say, each and every checkpoint, you would get certain points, and on the amount of points that you would have, you would go with the leaderboard. Like every run you make will get you some points. Let's say if you got to checkpoint number 10, you'd earn, let's say, about 50 points. And every time you play and you get to checkpoint 10, you get 50 points, and we will have a leaderboard for that. And we're gonna create that right now. So let's start. So first off, let's just go to our initial spot because we're gonna have the Surface GUI here. First off, let's create the actual parts that we're gonna use to make our leaderboard. It doesn't have to be, let's not make it too fancy just yet because we're gonna adjust it as well. So we're gonna rename this as leaderboard, and then we're gonna have to make this transparent. And since we don't want anyone touching it, like crawling over on top, we don't want that. Now let's reduce our shadow of it, and then we don't want it to collide to anyone. And then we're gonna have some Surface GUI. Surface GUI is just GUI that is in the part. So we're just gonna have it always on top. And then we're gonna add in some mainframes. Oops. We're gonna add in some mainframes. And let's say the size would be, go with 1, which is the whole part of our Surface GUI, the whole part or of our part. And then from this on onwards is just GUI making. Later we will code the actual leaders stats, or maybe in the next episodes. But right now let's get to a point where we could make this something of, say, outline maybe 10. Notice that there's nothing from there, but yeah, let's not make this overly fancy. Let's just copy this and paste it here. So we have another subframe. In our subframe, what would we need is we of we're of course we're gonna put sub mainframe, or the we're gonna put the title in the mainframe. Let's put in a text label right here. Let's put in, sorry about that. I had to mute that. So we're currently on our subframe. So or were we? So we're gonna make this point 8. Oh no, it's the other way around. We're gonna make this point 8, and we're gonna have the position on point 2, because we will have the title in the main frame, and in the subframe we're gonna put in, let's say, we're not gonna put in maybe a scrolling frame, but more of like a grid UI grid layout. So in our UI grid layout, we would have, I think we should divide this. Or never mind. we will divide this to 2 frames. Let's say, let's duplicate this. The other one would be 0.5, and the other one would be positioned on 0.5, and the other one would be on a position of 0.5 as well. This way they would both, let's say this is darker, or maybe not darker, let's just match it to the theme of per lemon. And then let's say our subframe would be color a little bit yellow, and also a little bit of yellow. And then this is where we would put our UI list. We would have the names here. We would have the names, and then there's scores. So in this part, we're gonna have text labels. So text label would be 0, and have it by 1, and maybe 0.5. No, not 0.5. That's too much. 0.1, because this would be the title. Maybe add it to 0.5. We're gonna say that this is our leaderboard. And then rich scale, let's use our favorite font, text scale, color to white, and then remove this. Oops. Color to white. And then make the transparency 1. And then in order to put it in the middle, we're gonna position it to 0.5 and then 0.5. Now we're sure that it's in the actual middle. Now we would want this to be title, and we would want this to be names, and this is to be scores. So let's say scores would be named scores, and we would put it just a little bit down. So we're gonna make the position to oops, not that one. We're gonna make the position to 0.1 and move it forward a little bit, so we make it 75. And then we go to the names. We're gonna put in names, and then same as the scores, we're gonna make it to a position of 0.1, and then move it forward a bit, 0.25. Oops, not the size, but more on to the position. Now we have leaderboard, names and scores. And now we're not gonna make this overly fancy. We will put in UI list here. So now that we have a UI list here with a vertical, anything we put here, let's say, just copy, let's say, the names. Oops, it's the other way around. So let's rename this to actual name, score frame, and then name frame. So let's just copy this too, and then paste it right here. So if you're gonna notice, we will have tons of names, and it's all lined up. So we won't make it to, we won't use a scrolling frame for this, because what we want is just the first 10. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's gonna be like that. So it's not overly fancy, and they're not gonna exceed their stuff. So the names, we just need to adjust to maybe a little bit, not, no, not, maybe like, we don't need the paddings, because the paddings will prolong that. What we need is an actual UI padding, and we just need something from the left, 0.1, a little bit further. Okay, Now we have the names. It's gonna go up to there. We're gonna change the size of this to actual ones. So it's gonna go up to there, and maybe we will have the alignment in the center, or rather left. Let's put it on left so that we have room to spare. And our scores is the same. So for our scores, let's just copy this, paste it there, paste this UI padding, and right there. Now let's duplicate it, and now we have scores. So of course these are gonna be numbers, and then we're probably gonna remove this and make this an actual template. But now we do have an actual leaderboard design. And now, catch if you learned something on using Surface GUI, just use Mainframe. We also have a different tutorial on this that you can use to. It's more of an in-depth explanation and just not showing you on the build. So if you're interested in that, go to our tutorials page. But this for now is specific on leaderboards, on how you can create like a leaderboard Surface GUI, wherein you won't see it on the other side. You would only see it as soon as you spawn. And maybe we're gonna up this a little bit, something like that. And there you go. I hope you learned something on this video, and then catch you on another video. Bye bye.